Hey everybody, Doc Mochrie here. I'm going to switch it up a little bit today, and instead of doing the long form videos, I'm going to do an unboxing video, which I haven't done before yet on this channel, so here we go. Now it's a bit of an interesting item because I had to import it directly from Japan because the US version, which has a completely different name, was delayed indefinitely due to the whole virus situation, but you can get it from over there. Where you gotta go through a Japanese Amazon website. There's a whole ordeal, but it did get here in 7 days, so can't really complain about the shipping. The packaging was good, so here we go. Great place to put the sticker, right in the middle of the box. Now you may be asking yourself, what the heck is a PC Engine? It's a Japanese game console that came out in 1987 and got pretty popular over there. They were neck and neck with Nintendo for a long time. They tried to bring it over here under the name Grafx 16, but by that time Sonic the Hedgehog was going on, so it's tough to compete with that and Nintendo at the same time. And here's the back of the box. It's a good mix of interesting games. That's what I like so much about the Genesis Mini, is it had a lot of unique games. I mean, I like the Nintendo ones, but it's a lot of games that I've played a million times. It's nice to have newer experiences from the older generation. Most of this stuff I've never played before. It also has a good number of Grafx 16 games. Alright, let's pry this thing open. Every package I've ever gotten from Japan has always come in so crispy and clean. I've gotten used items from there from 20 years ago, and they came in looking like they just got off the shelf. I think they were still shrink wrapped in plastic. There she is. Looks like an old telephone holder. Well, the reason it looks like that is because they have their own proprietary cartridges. They kind of look like giant Nintendo 3DS games, but they're white. I call them cue cards. It's made by Konami, creator of such fine games as Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, and Contra. I guess they bought the rights to PC Engine Grafx 16 about 10 years ago or so. But they do have a link to the original console. They did make games for it, and there's a couple on here. It's kind of interesting they got a dust cover on the back of it for the HDMI ports. You usually see that on the front of them. Packing controller is the original design from 1987, so no turbo buttons here. But they made it actual size, so it's almost bigger than the console. The rest is your basic mini console fare, an HDMI cable, and a charger cord. They didn't include a charger port, unfortunately. They do sell one separately that's custom made to match the console, but it's a little overpriced. Here's how the three mini consoles that I have match up size-wise. It's a little smaller than the Genesis Mini, but roughly the same size as the Super Nintendo Mini, give or take a couple centimeters. I also managed to get my hands on a secondary controller, which I'm pretty grateful for because this one does have the turbo buttons that came later on the Grafx 16 in the US. But this one's made by Hori instead of Konami. But that's alright with me. I got a few Hori arcade sticks and they all work very well, so trusted brand. This little box is 10 times tougher to open than the PC Engine mini box. Pack them tight in Japan, I guess. And there they are next to each other. They always reverse the button order on the 8-bit consoles. It's never A, B, or 1 and 2. It's always the reverse. Now we got it fired up. Thank God they give you the option to use English text. Here's the lineup. About 2/3 of them are in Japanese, but they use a lot of English text, so most of them are still pretty playable. The PC Engine's run was kind of a strange in-between period, where technology was changing rapidly, so they compensated for that by adding like a disc add-on, and they started using 3D polygons in certain games toward the end, and they were constantly upgrading their system. Unlike the Genesis Mini, which doesn't have any 32X or Sega CD games, the PC Engine Mini has the games from the additional add-on systems. Some of those systems only had a couple of games, so if you find them, they're extremely rare. This is one of the crown jewels of the system. Castlevania Rondo of Blood. It was the best Castlevania game for a long time, and it was only on PC Engine's Super CD-ROM. Classic 16-bit era Konami logo. It always reminds me of Tiny Toon Adventures Buster's Hidden Treasure for Genesis. I'm guessing they're translating the German with the Japanese. I don't know what the heck's going on, but I'll definitely be covering this one for the channel at a later date. Probably be better to play something to go fire up nice and quick, like good old Bomberman right here. It's a shame that it only comes packed in with one controller, because they do have some pretty good multiplayer games on here. This is trademark Hudson Soft. They always had their own unique cutesy style, but their games were always fun. It's pretty simple classic formula. Blow up everything around you and try not to kill yourself or get killed by the others. That's all that you really need to know. You definitely get those Pac-Man vibes when you're trapped in a corner and an enemy's coming straight for you and there's nothing you can do about it, but slowly watch your pending doom. Alright, let's fly to the other side of the pond and check out the American games. The TurboGrafx 16 was my only real awareness of this system. I used to advertise in magazines and on Nickelodeon when I was a kid. They'd always be hyping up two things, a turbo button and bonk. Must have seen the first level of bonk beaten on the game show Nick Arcade about 100 times. I love the addition of all the nostalgic sounds. They really go out of their way to make this piece of plastic sound like an early 90s CD player. Considering the limitations at the time, they really took advantage of the CD platform. The music to this game sounds great. It's a whole other level compared to the games on the other 16-bit consoles.
This is one of many side-scrolling and vertical scrolling shooters on this system, so if that's the style of game that you enjoy, this console will be a good fit for you. It's a good time to test out the turbo button. They give you 3 different options for each button: a single shot, a double shot, and a triple shot by the touch of one button. It's mostly helpful in games of this type.
That was basically what the PC Engine Mini looks like. Another fine addition to the collection of mini consoles that are out there. Maybe one of those days they'll release in the United States is the Grafx 16 Mini as they originally intended. I guess they gave like a estimated release date is December 31st, whatever that means. I guess they're hoping to get it in the calendar year. Who knows? But if you're looking for it, it's on Amazon Japan. I mean, for the value proposition that they give you, it's actually not a bad deal. Like, even though it's a little more expensive than the other mini consoles, because some of those games on there are worth a ridiculous amount of money if you're ever looking for them. Like, a couple of them are worth like a couple $1,000s. So you'll definitely get your money's worth, but I'm going to be checking it out. And in between new releases, I might slip a Grafx 16 game in there, so stay tuned. I'll catch you in the next video.
If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you want more, you can check me out at Doc Mochrie on YouTube and at Doc Mochrie Gaming on Facebook. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll have a new video out for you very soon.